Welcome to News and Views. We have a great show planned for you today. Starting in Champlin this month, we kick things off with City Council member Bruce Miller. Bruce will give us the rundown on his views on the pros and cons of social media and how that relates to the city of Champlin. Next up is Parks and Recreation Supervisor Alicia Jahnke as she fills us in on everything there is to know about the upcoming citywide garage sale. Crossing the bridge into the city of Anoka, we are joined by City Council member Mark Freeburg. Mark has a few things to say about street renewal projects in the city of Anoka. We're happy to have him here as well. Spring is right around the corner, so it's time to break out those golf clubs. To help us do that is Greenhaven Golf Course Manager Larry Norland, who has an update on what to expect from Greenhaven this spring and summer. Continuing our trek down Highway 10, we move on to the city of Ramsey, where City Council member Mark Kuzma makes his debut on News and Views and gives us the lowdown on upcoming events for the city of Ramsey. Also joining us from Ramsey is the new police chief, Jeff Caters. We will get to know Jeff, as well as hear some plans he has as the fresh police chief for the city of Ramsey. Closing out the show, we head over to Andover to speak with City Council member Sherry Bukala. Topic of discussion, the future plans for an emergency preparedness plan for the city. And last but certainly not least, we are joined by Anoka County Sheriff James Stewart. Sheriff Stewart explains why exactly the Sheriff's Department provides law enforcement coverage for the city of Andover and the services that they provide. All that and much more coming up right now on News and Views.
If you're a history buff with an interest in local history, then check out It's Your History on QCTV Channel 15 and on the web at qctv.org. It's Your History is produced in conjunction with the Anoka County Historical Society. We interview experts on local history as well as people who were there when it happened to bring you the most up-to-date facts on historical sites and events. So join us for It's Your History right here on QCTV Channel 15 and on the web at qctv.org.
Welcome to the Champlin segment of News and Views. For those of you watching at home, thanks for joining us. We're here with our first guest today, and that is City Councilmember Bruce Miller. How you doing, Bruce?
Good. It's always a pleasure to be here in the plush QCTV studios in downtown Champlin. So
that's right.
It's a nice place, and we're glad that you're here. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you. We're likewise. We're glad that you're here. Social media, as everybody knows, is a big deal, and there are pros and cons. From a city council member and a city perspective, can you talk a little bit about the pros and cons of social media?
Sure. Well, there's a variety of social medias. I mean, probably one of the most active right now, we have a variety of different Facebook pages. We have the official Champlin Facebook page, which just launched a little while ago. One of the pros of having the Champlin Facebook page is we're able to get information out there a little quicker to residents. Some people have a tendency to look at Facebook a lot more than they do at web pages, so I don't know, it's a changing technology. We don't have a Twitter page yet.
Okay.
And I don't know a lot of cities that have gone to Twitter, but the Facebook page seems to be pretty popular. There's not a lot of comments, so you don't get a lot of interaction back and forth. And that's one of the pros of it, is the fact that you don't get a lot of the negatives that happens on the private pages. We have a community page on private, a political page, and I believe a business page that are all sponsored or run by private persons and stuff.
Sure.
And one of the problems on the private ones is the arguments can get pretty nasty really quick.
Sure.
And you can't really control the topic that goes out there, so anything can go out there, and they try and keep it separate on those three different types of pages. But on the city page, it's just things that are going on. It's a posting of, we just started working on the dam, or we've got so-and-so moving into here, or this is going on, or street sweeping in the city. So it's more of a posting of what's going on, and there's some interaction, but it's pretty minor. Whereas in the other one, you can be having a civil conversation, bantering back and forth, and all of a sudden somebody will interject something, and it gets pretty negative real quick. So.
Sure, sure. No, that sounds legitimate. That echoes many things that I've heard, and other guests we've had on the show have kind of said similar things. Can you talk about some of the problems regarding leaked information and maybe like the distortion of facts?
Well, one of the things about modern technology is you can get information out there really quick. And some people have a tendency to see, I can get it out first before somebody else does, and maybe they want a little kudos for, hey, I launched this first, or I told the citizens about this, or I saw this happening at the city first. So people are a little hasty sometimes to post things that may not be finalized. From our end on the city council and business-wise, we may be privy to some information about somebody being in negotiations with somebody, and then if we prematurely launch that or post that so-and-so is coming to our city, or this is happening here, well, we may have a neighboring city or some other competition saying, hey, I hear you're talking to Champlin, and they may sweeten their deal so it could negate something. And that's always one of the problems we have on council and stuff. You know, it's the information we're told a lot of times, you know, this is just on the, for your own information, don't let anybody know. But sometimes we're not sure about it, and I think it's best just to keep it under your hat and keep it quiet, because you could ruin some negotiations that we may have been working on for a long time. And then in Facebook, there's a lot of conjecture and a lot of premature guesswork, and if you feed into that, you start kind of a little frenzy going on that happens on Facebook. So
Sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, social media, it's just like anything. There's ups and downs. It can be a wonderful thing, but it can be a very negative thing. So,
and another thing about that also, I'm sorry if I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, not at all.
Is the people posting on Facebook too. You know, if you're assuming that these are all Champlin residents that are posting on it, it'd be interesting to see where all these people live throughout the Twin Cities or wherever. I suppose it could be nationwide,
Sure,
or even worldwide people posting, but you on the council, you know, they're not all your constituents, so if you start reading into it saying, oh, well, so-and-so is upset at something, well, they could live in Duluth for all you know, unless you're familiar with the people on it. So
Sure,
you can't overreact to the information that comes out on Facebook either. So
Sure, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's good to get a twist from a city council perspective and kind of get your guys' thoughts on these things. And any final thoughts regarding pros and cons of social media? Or
well, the way I've learned to use it, and it seems to be working for me, I post stuff when it's safe. I try not to engage people, especially if it starts getting into a conversation where people are really back and forthing. I try and instant message somebody or go on the side to try and have a private conversation with them to say, yeah, I'll follow up on that for you or so forth and things like that.
Sure,
so.
absolutely.
But it's been pretty positive so far. I've enjoyed it.
Well, that's good. That's good. Well, speaking of positive, we have Easter around the corner, so we want to say Happy Easter, and we hope you have a great weekend coming up. We got nice weather around the corner, so that's also positive.
Spring is finally here, I believe. So
that's right. Excellent.
You know, started working on the dam, the construction for that, so that just started recently. So
sure,
a lot of things going on. There's a lot of things in the works. So hopefully next time I come back, we can talk about maybe some major things that are going on.
There you go. Exciting times to come. Well, speaking of major things, well, quickly, thank you for being here, Bruce.
Pleasure, as always.
Speaking of exciting things, the City of Champlin has a brand new website, and we're going to take you a quick tour, a little behind the scenes, and we're going to take a look at that right now. The City of Champlin has recently launched its brand new website. Sporting a modern, simplistic look, the site impresses with features and is easy to navigate. At the top of the page, you will find quick links to the latest city news, ordinances, city calendar, an option to subscribe to their mailing list, as well as an option to pay your utility bill. Below the quick links, you will find a row of drop-down menus, allowing access to city government affairs, all the different apartments throughout the city, community links, as well as a contact page. Centered on the homepage, you will find direct links to recreation programs, the Champlin Chronicle, quick references, the resident guide, as well as an option to report an issue. The bottom half of the page is made up of the latest city news, featuring relevant articles and city events that will keep you up to date on things happening throughout the city. The city calendar is a wonderful tool that allows you to stay on top of city meetings and planned events. Each meeting or event has details attached, and you can even view the agenda with the click of a mouse. In the upper left-hand corner of the site, you will find quick links to the city's Facebook page, as well as an email shortcut for your convenience. We encourage you to explore Champlin's brand new website at www.ci.champlin.mn.us. Well, that's certainly a fantastic looking website. We encourage all residents and non-residents to check it out at www.ci.champlin.mn.us. Joining us now is our second guest, and that is Alicia Jahnke from the Parks Department. How you doing?
Good morning, Corey. I'm great.
Yeah, thanks for being here. We're here to talk garage sales.
It's that time of the year.
It's that time of year. Spring is upon us. So citywide garage sales coming up. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Well, it's a great excuse to clean out your closets and your garage and out with the old and in with the new. And the reason we set it up is just a great opportunity for people to host garage sales, and it happens in mass. I mean, we might have 110 to 150 sales that particular weekend.
Wow.
And so it's a real draw to bring people into the city because they can, hit more than one garage sale or two garage sales while they're in town. That's not to say that people can't host sales other weekends, but this is kind of our big weekend to draw people in and, maximize their shopping time.
Sure. So it's a giant networked garage sale.
Exactly.
Essentially.
Each resident hosts their own garage sale, and what we do is we gather all that information, put it together on a map, and they have the opportunity to list certain items that they might like to highlight, and then those maps and that information becomes available for the public and the shoppers, and believe me, they call in January to find out when the sale is going to be. So this is a
Get Nancy.
Yes, it's a long-awaited event. People plan around for sure.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's exciting, and it kind of marks the beginning of warm weather, so people get excited. Snow's gone, leaves are starting to bloom, stuff like that. So it's a good time of year to
That's
do
the
something.
hope anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the garage sale hasn't always had the best weather, but that is the hope, that
Sure.
it's the onset of spring.
We'll all cross our fingers. So if somebody wants to host a garage sale, either this year or potentially next year, how can they do that?
Well, right now, registrations will be opened through April 17th is the deadline. So depending on when you're seeing this show, you may still have time to get in.
Okay.
And it's a $10 fee per household. Registration forms can be online or are online and can be found there at ci.champlin.mn.us, or they can call the Park and Public Works office and have one mailed out to them. And it's essentially just listing your, family name, your address, and then you do have the opportunity, as I mentioned, to highlight, 3 to 5 items if you have something big like a treadmill or something, unique that you would want to draw attention to, and then we'll get that information out there.
Oh, that's great. That's good information. If you have a newborn baby or something and you want baby clothes, you can spot that stuff out.
Yep, you can map your route and hit the sales that are just selling baby clothes.
That's awesome. Cool. So you mentioned maps. If somebody wants to pick one of these maps up, where can they grab one?
Well, they become available around May 2nd, so you've got a few days. The sale is May 7th through the 9th.
Okay.
The maps become available May 2nd, so you can plan your route. And we do have them at the city offices, City Hall, Park and Public Works. But because we're not open on Saturdays, we also have them out at local gas stations. So the Holiday Station stores in town, Super America, Sinclair. If I'm missing anyone, I'm sorry, but there's maps there. And they are free to pick up.
Okay.
You could probably support our sponsors by buying a soda or a candy bar while you're there. But
absolutely.
We will try to put it up on the website, but it's an extremely large file, and it needs to be printed on 11 by 17 paper. So it doesn't always print out the best at home. So you can certainly view it, and then, like I said, when you pull into town, hit one of the gas stations and pick one of those up.
So pro tip, pick up a map. Easiest
Absolutely,
way to do it. Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, it sounds like an exciting event. Can you just drop the dates one more time, just a little reminder for the viewers?
Absolutely. It will be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, May 7th through the 9th, and most sales run 9 to 5 a.m. If they're different, they'll be stated on the map and information.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thanks, Alicia. That's wonderful information. We encourage all those shoppers to get out there and find those baby clothes, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Now we're going to take a quick peek at a recent community event. It was the Easter egg hunt, so we're going to take a look at that right now.
Park is the place to be on this cold but bright spring morning. The Easter Bunny is here, and he's been posing for photos with the little ones as they look for thousands of eggs filled with candy and prizes. We caught up with Alicia Jahnke, who gives us the details.
Well, it's the annual City of Champlin Easter egg hunt. It's traditionally held Good Friday, and as you can see, the turnout is fabulous. We did a separate hunt for those little 4 and underage kids so they don't get run over by the older crowd. And we do owe a bunch of thanks to Riverway Church, who this year donated 15,000 eggs, all stuffed with candy from their members. That was a donation, so that was fabulous. We also had Dairy Queen donate small kids cone coupons. Jimmy John's has some sub platters, and Arby's has a booklet of coupons as well.
Welcome to the Easter egg hunt, and as you can see, there's a lot of people here today. This event is an Easter hunt, and me and my brother like Easter egg hunts.
What does Easter mean to you?
Easter means to me like it's fun, and a lot of kids like it, stuff like that, and the grown-ups like it too.
For starters, it's free, and it's a great thing to do on spring break that you can do together as a family, and it really covers, you know, your little ones to your preteens. So it's a good family event.
Hi, and thanks for joining us for the Anoka portion of News and Views. I'm your host for this section, Matt Overstreet. And in this segment, joining us again today is Anoka Council Member Mark Freeburg. And today he's going to be talking to us a little bit about some major street renewal projects. So thank you for joining us again today, Councilman Freeburg.
You're welcome, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So what exact streets or areas of town are we talking about doing the renewal?
Well, we're doing two different projects. One is over on the east side, kind of east of 7th Avenue on Monroe Street, and a little bit of 8th Avenue, a little, you know, that was unfinished from before. And it's interesting when you do stuff on top, it has to go with what's down below. And so sometimes when you see a project, you go, well, that doesn't make sense because they forgot this block. Well, it's because what's underground doesn't, it just dictates what you do on top.
Okay.
That's the big thing. So we're going to be cleaning up that side with about 3 or 4 projects that have been done, and now this will kind of won't finish that side of town, but it'll connect some of the dots. And then the other part is over in Slabtown, just west of Ferry and north of Highway 10. It's called Slabtown, and that is an absolute abomination. I mean, there's no curbs; they're just nubbins. There's no stormwater, you know, drains, and so it just puddles, and it's the alleys. It's a mess, and so it's going to really fix up that neighborhood nicely. It's so interesting when you do street renewal, what follows after that with the homeowners.
Right.
You know, they get encouraged. They start residing. They start re-landscaping and start doing things. You know, because it looks so nice. So that momentum spurs on.
Sure, kind of an echo effect in the neighborhood.
Yeah, it just really is great. Yeah.
So the Slabtown area, is that going to be that's kind of maybe needs more help than the other?
It is probably as bad as you'll find in Anoka.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
When we started this project back in the year 2000, you know, we went to the worst of the worst plumbing underground and started working our way down the street, so to speak. And you know, now this is yeah, it's just bad.
Okay.
Really bad.
Well, I know that the City Council recently, they were presented with a resolution to approve a bid and then award a construction contract for these renewal projects. Was the resolution approved?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the contracts have been awarded.
Yep.
So now I guess we're going to go ahead and start setting some dates, and the projects are going to be going underway then, right?
Yes. Actually, yeah, we're actually doing like 2 years in 1 year. It's huge.
Oh, wow.
Huge. Financially huge and geographically huge. It was a project, just like Slab Town, there was no sense to go in 2 years and inconvenience that neighborhood for 2 years in a row.
Right.
So we got all our shackles together and came up with enough money to pull it off, and so it'll be very interesting. But 2 years of that would have been too much.
I took a peek at a portion of the last televised Anoka City Council meeting where this was actually brought up. And during the meeting, I noticed that some of the other council members had made some remarks during that segment that the bids that they had been receiving from some of these construction companies seemed on the lower end. Now, this is, a good thing. Is that the case?
It seems to be. I mean, I don't know if the engineers padded it too much, and then when it came in, it made them look good. I don't know. That's what I told them. I said they stretched the numbers so when they come in, they look like geniuses. But I think we got our bids in early, and that helps. People are hungry; they want the work.
Sure.
And competition is still rampant out there with housing or any kind of subs or anything. And streets are another thing that we got the bid early. And I mean, if you try to get something done in September, October, you're going to pay probably dearly for it.
Right.
So
trying to beat the winter, right?
Yeah. And and they're booked up, they're full, they're trying to finish projects. So it's good to get in first in front of the line.
Well, I know that the citizens of Anoka really appreciate their council's willingness to listen to them. These streets are a boo-boo, so we need a Band-Aid on them. We got to fix that. And I know that their council is going to act to make their driving and their commutes less of a hazard and more of an enjoyable trip overall. So thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Freeburg. We always appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us and have a chat. Well, speaking of ongoing projects in Anoka, we recently had the opportunity to meet with Anoka's Recreation Supervisor, Alicia Jahnke. She's going to give us a little bit of an update with Castle Field. Let's take a look at that.
The temperature's been up, the sun's been out, and it's starting to look like baseball season. We recently caught up with Anoka Recreation Supervisor Alicia Jahnke to give us an update on Castle Field.
And just wanted to let you know that we are still accepting donations for bricks, bucket seats, just regular, even just cash donations to the project. We're entering into our third phase. As you know, if you've driven by the field on 7th Avenue, the field is playable. We've got the grandstand with the bathrooms and everything ready to open up this spring when the first games begin in April. But our last phase of the field is actually to finish the plaza around the backside of the building. It adds some additional landscaping and trees for shade for people that want to sit out in the grass to enjoy the game. And then also to finish the donor board that's going to recognize all the great contributions we've gotten from the community and organizations throughout the city of Anoka and the surrounding area. For more information on Castle Field, please visit the City of Anoka website at www.ci.anoka.mn, and you can click right on the Castle Field page. We've got links there to find the community baseball organizations and their schedules for the coming season. The high school will kick off that season here in the first week of April, and then the community teams will start their play later in May and June. So hope you get out and see a game at Castle Field this summer.
Well, those are certainly some big plans for the completion of Castle Field, and we can't wait to see them. Joining us next on the program for the Anoka portion of News and Views here is Anoka golf manager Larry Norland. And he's going to talk to us a little bit and give some information about something that's been on a lot of our minds as we know it, and that is golf. So thanks for joining us today, Mr. Norland.
Welcome.
The first question, to get this right out of the gate, is it ever too early in the season for golf?
Well, I suppose that would depend on who you ask. If you ask the golfers and the people that are passionate about the game, as soon as the sun or the snow is mostly gone, that's good. But our superintendent, he has he has the responsibility to make sure that the grass is kept as healthy as we can. So we do have to wait until the frost is mostly out of the ground. And one of the big keys is on any given day, like today, for instance, it's a little cool out there, and we need to make sure that the grass is thawed for the day before we can get people out there. Bent grass can be a little delicate at times.
Absolutely, and nowhere do you want to have it as good a condition as you do on the golf course. So with that in mind, then, kind of with the weather as it has been this season, do you kind of have a projection as far as when Greenhaven's going to be open for business in full?
Well, we've actually we've had a couple days where we have been open already. Believe it or not, we were open the weekend of March 14th this year, which might be one of the earliest times Greenhaven has ever opened.
Great.
But then we've kind of had a couple days where we've gotten some snow here and there, and we've shut down for a day here, a day there. But for the most part, it's open, and on any given day, anytime we get into the low 40s, we're getting people out there. Golfers, they'll play in anything. They're passionate.
I know it. Now, I know a lot of us who are around the area know Greenhaven very well, but for some golfers who may be new to the area, what's something you might want to let them know about Greenhaven?
Well, Greenhaven, it's got a tremendous amount of history, a lot like Anoka. Greenhaven was founded, I have a little newspaper article where a lady named Clara Wickstrom won the naming contest of Greenhaven in 1937. So we just had our 75th anniversary a couple of years ago. Wow. So Greenhaven's been around a long time. It's been a very successful golf course for a number of, for most of its life. It goes through some ebbs and flows. But the city's always been really supportive and kept the infrastructure of the facility in good shape. The Greenhaven is always one of the best kept golf courses in the area. It's a very playable golf course, not a lot of forced carries, things like that. So it's a great place to learn the game, but it's also a great place to get together with friends, and it's not one of those courses that will beat you up and have you frustrated at the end of the day banging your clubs in your trunk and things like that. So.
Sure. Well, for those of us who have been around for a little while and we've played a few times, can you let us know what may be new for this year?
Probably the two activities that we're really keen in on this year is, number one, we always have our Celebrate Anoka Golf Tournament in the first Monday after Labor Day in the fall. And that is a unique event. We call it, we kind of take a playoff for the Halloween capital of the world and have our Angels and Demons format. So 9 holes that are really, really, really hard, and 9 holes that are really easy, and it's a scramble format. People love it. They really enjoy it. And then also something that's really big this year, focusing on golf, is there's a new thing called the Junior Golf League. And it's actually a team format for juniors, and it's a kind of a non-threatening way to get juniors into the game, to let them experience some competition and things along that way. And we're actually having an informational meeting coming up on April 22nd. So anybody that's ever thought about getting their kids into the game and learning, if you don't have clubs, we can help there. All sorts of things. It's just a great way to get into the game and to learn about how to play golf.
Absolutely. And that informational meeting is keyed specifically for newcomers to the game?
It'll be an informational meeting on how the Junior Golf League works. We'll actually be in a league with a few other golf courses in the area, so you get to play several different places, and it's a team format, so it's kind of low stress, lots of fun.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Norland. I know a lot of our viewers are going to be very excited to see that you are here on the program with us today. A recent trend is coming to Anoka, and it's coming sooner than you might think, and that trend is craft brewing. QCTV really recently visited with 10K Brewing to find out all about their new craft brewery that's going to be opening up in downtown Anoka. Let's take a look.
Well, the idea for 10K Brewing actually came to me at 30,000 feet when I was leaving Minnesota. And this is just one flight that I was on that I didn't want to actually be leaving Minnesota at that time, and it just kind of clicked with me that I wanted to do something that kept me in Minnesota, and I wanted to do something that I loved.
I've worked in real estate and marketing. My background is in marketing, so growing small businesses was kind of my forte. And it was around Thanksgiving, I think, and we were over at our parents' house, and he was telling me all about it, and I'm like, done, I'm in. He found out that there was some zoning amendment stuff that we needed to work with the city on, so went to the city council meetings and planning and all that to get a lot of that changed, so that microbreweries and distilleries are allowed in this zone of downtown Anoka, which they've never been before.
When I first approached the city about the zoning amendment, initially we started working on the paperwork to get the amendment made, and then about a week or two later, the city's all of a sudden like, we're on board with this.
Yeah,
we
they
want a
lit
brewery
up.
here.
Yeah.
So they're like, we're going to help you write the amendment. We're going to get this together. So we worked very closely with the city to be able to do this.
The thing that I think is so cool too is that there's nothing like it around here. I mean, we are surrounded by so many really awesome businesses, but we are 100% different.
Welcome to QCTV. We are your source for local programming in the area that includes Anoka, Champlin, Andover, and Ramsey. Our goal is to bring you the stories about the people, places, and events in your community. If you are interested in civics, we cover over 20 government meetings a month, like city council and school board meetings. We produce a program called News and Views that features interviews with your elected officials and staff members. Our goal is to get the word out on what is happening in your city. And if you're a sports fan, we cover local sports. We are now gearing up for our spring sports, and we have a new show called In the Game, hosted by QCTV's Chris Carpenter. In this show, we bring you interviews with local athletes and coaches and students who you may not have heard of before, but we think they deserve to be featured in the community. Also this month, we continue our collaboration with the League of Women Voters, and you can see a show called Restore the Vote, Making Our Community Whole, as well as another program featuring a panel of experts who discuss water resources and how important that is for all of us. You can also watch our latest program in our Live and Local series. This one is called Live and Local, Let's Get Fit, and it features ways to get in shape. We went to the local Lifetime Fitness, the YMCA in Andover, professional karate studio in Champlin, and we did snowboarding, skiing, Zumba, and yoga. Our goal at QCTV is to bring you the stories of the people who live and work here. So we hope you enjoy our local storytelling. We welcome your ideas. Please give us a call or send us an email with your ideas. And again, welcome to QCTV.
Hi, I'm Noah Johnson, and welcome to the Ramsey part of News and Views. My first guest today is Ramsey City Council member Mark Kuzma. Mark, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Noah.
It's good to have you. You haven't been on the show yet, so yeah, it's nice to have you. So there's a lot of stuff going on in Ramsey. You know, we're getting into the spring and the summertime, so there's going to be a lot of events coming up. So one of the big events that's coming up next month is the Ramsey Business Expo. Could you touch on that a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. You know, this is the 2015 Business Expo, and it's going to be on Saturday, April 18th.
Okay.
It goes from 9 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's at the Fountains of Ramsey, right in the core there.
Okay.
And it's a family event. The admission is free. There's going to be giveaways. There's some exciting contests that they're going to have. There's free product samples featuring some fine local restaurants that we have. And then there's coupons, deals, and information. So it's a lot of fun. We're also going to, I know the Ramsey Foundation is going to be there, and they put on the concerts, so they'll be there to talk a little bit about that. And then we're also going to have Heart Safe. I think Tim will be doing some training.
Excellent.
So that this should be a really good event. I hope everybody can come out and participate.
It sounds like a lot of fun, and you know, I've been hearing about it for a while, but it's good to get the word out so people know about it. So another event that's going on is a recycling day.
Well, that's our Spring Recycling Day event. That's going to be Saturday, May 2nd, and that runs from 8 to 12, and it's at the Ramsey Public Works. And you can drop off, there's appliances, most of the, or I guess the standard appliances, except for water softeners, are free. Water softeners are $10, and then you know, there's I think if you take a look at a Ramsey resident, it's going to list as far as, you know, what the fees are, or, you know, what's free, what would not be free. So, you know, for people that need to get rid of some of their stuff that they no longer need, then it's a good way to be able to get rid of it without putting it in the trash.
Excellent. Yeah, it's nice to, you know, Ramsey's going green, and maybe that's a good way to help.
Yeah.
So, and then last but not least, there's a pet clinic. So what's the deal on that?
Well, a pet clinic's where you come out and you can bring dogs there. They can get shots, the rabies shots, distemper, Lyme's, the same for cats. And again, this is going to be at the Ramsey Fire Station. And that's located at the 15153 Now Then Boulevard. And this is going to be on Sunday, April 26th.
Okay.
And then I guess there's another one on May 17th. I believe those are the correct dates.
Okay. Cool. Well, yeah, lots of stuff coming up. And you mentioned me just before the show. You have some updates on a snowy owl that nested in Ramsey about a year ago.
You know, about a year and a half ago or so, we had a snowy owl that camped out in Ramsey, and turns out that this young male snowy owl was part of a study and had a GPS tracker on it, and so it hung out in Ramsey for about a month or so, and then it made its way into the Dakotas and then up to Manitoba, and then ultimately they lost track of it when it made it all the way up to Antarctica.
Wow.
So I just thought that was pretty interesting.
That is interesting. You know, they're beautiful creatures. It's hard to believe that there was one in our area.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I just want to thank you again for joining me, and we'll look forward to having you back on the show again. And we actually got to check out the newly opened Stony River Assisted Living and Memory Care facility in Ramsey. Let's take a look.
Well, Joy, on behalf of the City of Ramsey, we're very excited to welcome you as Stony River here to our community, Stony River Assisted Living Memory Care. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what Stony River is?
Stony River is a new senior housing here in Ramsey. We offer assisted living and memory care. Assisted living is home-like environment with support services for our residents. Also in our memory care, we can help those who need that little extra one-on-one and love and care as they go through their day.
Excellent, excellent. Another really exciting part for us here at the City of Ramsey is not only offering housing for seniors, which was a gap that we saw in our housing providing, but this organization has provided a number of jobs right now in terms of construction and your operation here today, but also more jobs to come in the future. Can you tell us a little bit about how many jobs that Stony River has helped create for the community?
Currently we have approximately 30 employees, but we will be bringing on between 60 and 70 employees as we get up to full occupancy.
Excellent, excellent. So the big question we always get here at the city is, how do I get more information about Stony River? I'm really excited about this project. I want to find out some more leasing information. So where can our viewers learn a little bit more about contact information?
Well, to contact us by phone, our phone number is 612-615-9936. We also have our website, www.stonyriverramsey.com. You can also stop in right at our front door. We're here at 14401 Now Then Boulevard, just off the intersection of 47 and 5.
Well, very good. And again, on behalf of the City of Ramsey, we're excited to see you here. We've been working with your team for a number of years to make this project a success. So we're very excited to see the doors open now and seeing residents move in. So it's great to see you here. Thank you very much.
So Stony River really is a great facility, and people are lucky to have it in Ramsey. So joining me now is the brand new Ramsey Police Chief, Jeff Caters. Jeff, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Noah. Nice to be here.
It's great to have you. So you've been with the department for a little while, but you just became the police chief earlier this year. For those that don't know who you are, could you give me a little bit of background on yourself?
Sure, absolutely. My name is Jeff Caters, as Noah said. I'm a police chief in Ramsey. I took over the chief's position in February of this year. Been with the department since 2000. Held just about every position within the department. Started out as a patrol officer in the year 2000. Became a investigator, a sergeant, lieutenant, captain, and now chief. So I feel like I have a pretty good handle on department operations and how our city works, how our county works, and how our department works. So I grew up in the area, 34-year resident of Anoka County. Grew up in the city of Coon Rapids. Left for short periods of time, worked for a couple of other departments. Got my start into law enforcement through the Exploring program. And the city of Ramsey has a Police Explorers program. And it's a fairly new program to the city of Ramsey. With 5 years, 6 years that we've had an Exploring program. But didn't originally want to become a police officer, wanted to go to school for business, got involved in the Police Exploring program in the city of Coon Rapids, opened my eyes to what law enforcement was about, got really excited about it, and decided that's what I wanted to do as a career. So did some volunteer work. I worked for a couple of different sheriff's offices. Started out in corrections. I worked 8 years in corrections in the courts. And then, like I said, did some volunteer work. I was a rescue diver, recovery diver for the sheriff's office, and did some other volunteer work related to law enforcement. So I feel like I really understand the criminal justice system and how all the components work together.
So now that you're the chief, what do you see for the future of the Ramsey Police Department?
Well, I have a couple of ideas. Of course, I understand department operations, been there for a while, but we do, in Ramsey, we do citizen surveys, and we get feedback from social media, feedback from officers out on the street, talking with citizens, and a couple of the things that I want to do for the department within the next couple of years. Some of the top priorities, one being a Citizens Academy. I think people have maybe a misunderstanding of what law enforcement does. I don't want to say that everything on television is inaccurate, but you can't fit an entire shift of police work into a half-hour segment or an hour segment. So obviously the most intriguing things are within that time frame. But I think it's important to tell, we certainly have a story to tell of the job that we do. It's a great career. I love being a police officer. And we have some very qualified, very talented staff. And I want to highlight some of their abilities and things like that. So I think the Citizens Academy would be a great opportunity for citizens to see what we do in police work, what it's all about.
So I just want to thank you again for joining me. And Youth First just recently held their annual Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. Let's take a look at a clip from that event.
The annual Mayor's Prayer Breakfast serves to solidify our community's resolve in providing these 5 promises for our youth, and now, therefore, be it proclaimed that Friday, March 13th, 2015 be declared Youth First Community of Promise Day in the cities of Andover, Anoka, and Ramsey. And a Mayor's Prayer Breakfast will be held on that day in support of the Youth First initiative. We call upon the citizens in our communities to assist the work of the Northwest Anoka County Community Consortium and our Youth First Community of Promise to implement a unified vision for youth development in our community. Thank you very much.
Well, good morning, everyone. I just wanted to say that Ramsey is so proud to be a supporter of Youth First, and I just personally wanted to thank all of the members of the board, all of the staff, all of the volunteers and folks who support Youth First. It's such an important organization. Our youth collectively, they're a group that deserve every advantage, and unfortunately some of them in our communities have every disadvantage, and I just appreciate the work that Youth First does to reverse that. And in particular, I just want to thank Councilmember Melody Shryack. She was unable to be here today, but she's our council's representative on the board, and also Councilmember Jill Johns, who had that position before her. The council is just happy to be that involved. So thank you very much for being here this morning.
Welcome to News and Views. I'm Catherine Lenneberg, and we are talking about Andover in this segment. And I'm happy to have as my guest Sherry Bukola. Thank you, Sherry, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Very good.
Good, very good. Well, we're going to talk about Andover, and it's just good news after good news coming out of Andover. The economy seems to be doing well across the country and also in Andover. There's a couple of new businesses. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We're just happy to see the growth keep going. We did slow down during the recession, but now we're back up and running, and people are moving into town. One of the bigger companies, TE Connectivity, ended up being a great venture. 150 employees coming into the city, and it's wonderful.
That is fantastic. Now, you were also in the news lately because you were the first Minnesota police officer to revive someone with this anti-overdose drug called Narcan. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, that was a recent legislative change that allowed frontline first responders to administer a medication. And, you know, it's like winning the lottery if you're the first one. You think that way. And as a first responder, you kind of struggle celebrating a life save because we tend to reflect on all the ones that we lost. Mm-hmm. But it's important to recognize these moments for what they are, and that one person being in the right place at the right time can make a miraculous change and an effect on another person's life. And Anoka County on a whole, whether it's individual cities, we're really gearing towards that heart-safe community aspect, people knowing where the AEDs are, how to respond to those, recognizing simple symptoms can really make a difference to the person you're sitting next to in the stands, in the bleachers, working out at the YMCA, or wherever you're at in the community. And it's just one of those things that I want people to be encouraged to explore, that this training is not exclusive to first responders. While the Narcan is an exception to that, but in terms of basic life-saving measures, simple training, an afternoon spent at a community class, whether you actually go through the hospital courses, you can take first responder, you can take the emergency medical technician classes. They're not very long, and the skills really do stay with you. It's simple refreshers every couple years, and you don't have to worry about this being your occupation. The simple things that you're taught can really make a difference. So I encourage everyone in the community, whether it's your spouse sitting on the couch watching television, choking on a pretzel or popcorn, you could really make the difference in a moment.
Right, exactly. Now, can you also, switching gears a little bit, talk about the future development of the emergency preparedness plan? Tell us about that.
In Andover, that is really close to my heart, a personal initiative to say, what can the community, the residents expect if we have the next tornado, if something were to happen with the trains, what would we do as a community and how would we react? It's going to take a long time to develop and coordinate all those different pieces to the puzzle, because it really is a demand on resources and a what-if scenario base. And we want to get to the point where we're inviting residents in for training, so that if the power is out for 3 days, are you thinking about what it is you're going to do? If your children are at school and you're at work and this happens and you're not in the area, do you have plans in place for your family? If the phone lines are down, where are you going to go? What's your meet location? Where are you going to pick up your children? And do you have other relatives maybe outside of the city that is who you coordinate through?
Right.
So getting people to anticipate what that is, because during those emergencies, the first responder, fire, police, those resources are really targeting the major life safety issues. So if a tree has fallen and you can't get into your house, or your house has been blown away, what are you going to do? Because the first responders are focused on the community as a whole and aren't going to be able to deal with all the little micro situations that, while they are catastrophic, they're going on everywhere. So it's really reliant on residents to be able to push through that emergency, take some initiative for self-care, self-preservation, and what are you going to do at that home, and then reach out to help your neighbors to get through that whole catastrophic event.
Very good. Well, thank you for telling us about that. We're almost out of time, but super quickly, the Andover Fun Fest is coming up this summer, and if volunteers are interested, what can they do?
They're looking for a co-chair for the bingo event, and plenty of volunteers to assist with bingo, also with the kids fun run. All those are community activists, residents volunteering their time, and we really need to encourage folks to call City Hall, check the city website, get in touch with the Andover Fun Fest committee, sign up and volunteer, because it's really who we are as a community, and stepping up and getting in there and helping the whole.
Well, thank you so much for taking time to be here today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. Now we're going to take a look at the North Suburban Home Show. Let's take a look.
If you're looking to do any home improvements at your home, this is definitely the place to be. We are having our North Suburban Home Improvement Show here at the Andover Community Center. It's our 17th annual, and we have about 100 exhibitors here, along with a kids workshop put on by Lowe's. So the first 200 kids can come and build something and take it home with them. There are exhibitors from cabinets and landscaping, flooring, exterior of homes, all sorts of exhibitors for home improvements.
Thank you. We are doing really well. Actually, I think we're on our way to beating our last year's. We had about 300 pounds last year, so this looks like we're going to be. This is only part of it. We have the boxes full and stuff. So, but what we've been trying to do is just bury the table this year and see how high we can go.
So there's a lot of action. People are excited about spring. They want to get new siding, new windows. They want to do landscaping. They're just enjoying a good time. I see people here from Master Gardeners if you have questions about gardening. There are people from Anoka County Parks. Everybody wants to get out on the trails. They may not know where they can camp. So there's interesting things to do even if you don't want to improve your home. And I just see a lot of people here getting the kids out of the house and visiting with the neighbors. So I hope you can come next year. If you're not here this year, it's the place to be in the spring.
Hello and welcome back to News and Views in Andover. I'm Catherine, and now joining me is Sheriff James Stewart. Thank you, Sheriff, so much for being here today. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Excited
Very
for
good.
spring like everyone else.
Exactly, yes. Now we're going to talk about the city of Andover and how they set up their law enforcement. It's a little bit unique from our other three cities in the Quad Cities in that they contract with the Sheriff's Department. Can you explain that for us?
Absolutely. I think to take a step back, the core function of providing law enforcement services, once a community transitions from a township to a city, it becomes the city's responsibility to provide those services. And so having said that, there's a variety of options available, and the first, of course, is to have a contract with the Sheriff's Office. A second would be to have a contract with a neighboring police department, or a third, of course, is to start your own police department. And so in 1974, our Sheriff's Office began providing contract law enforcement services, and Andover was one of the many communities that opted to go with a contract with the Sheriff's Office, and we've been their partner for the last 40 years, and it's worked out really well.
Can you explain to our viewers how it's set up, how it works?
Our contracts are essentially, I should take a step back. Within the Sheriff's Office, we have 6 divisions. Each division has multiple specialty units, and our patrol division is, in simplest terms, our police department. And so our police department, our patrol division, provides the contract services, law enforcement services for the cities. And annually, we have 8 of the 21 communities of Anoka County contract with the Sheriff's Office. And so we look at the prior year's calls for service, and that's really the key component of the formula we use to determine how many deputies they need to provide their services. And so we negotiate with the cities and we figure out what is the best fit. Some communities want additional services such as park enforcement, community service officers, school liaison officers, things like that, investigations, crime prevention. We have a wide variety of services on the a la carte menu that we work with the cities on. But focusing on Andover, we'll meet with the city council and the city administrator on an annual basis to figure out what is the needs of the city for the coming year. And it's a pretty straightforward formula that has been refined over the years, and so annually we have been able to renew the contract, and it's been a great partnership.
Okay, could Andover ever get too big, or any city ever get too big that this wouldn't work?
No, not really. It functions virtually the same as a police department in that, again, we like a police department would, we assess what are the needs and what do we need to get that job done. And similarly, you look across our nation that some of the very large communities are patrolled by sheriff's offices, and even within the metropolitan area, a lot of the larger communities have sheriff's office contracts. And within Anoka County, Andover is the third largest community in Anoka County. And so the size really isn't an issue. It's a great value for excellent service for any size community.
What are the advantages and disadvantages, would you say?
I think the advantages really come down to economy of scale. As we look across our nation, we hear about the advantages of economy of scale and collaboration and cooperation and the value that comes with that. And really, on the law enforcement arena, the Anoka County Sheriff's Office is the model of that, because our infrastructure, all of those 6 divisions I talked about, are supported by all 21 communities of Anoka County. And then even within our patrol division, our police services division, 8 of the 21 communities are at the core of that. So it eliminates a lot of the redundancy needs for the different positions. There's 8 police chiefs as an example that the cities wouldn't have to fund individually in supervision and records techs, and the list goes on. And so there's a lot of value in that. Plus, they also have the ability to share the resources, and so that economy of scale applies also to the equipment, to the staffing, to the fleet, all of those kind of things. And so the advantages go on. And another one that the cities really seem to appreciate is that all of the day-to-day operations aren't their problems. We'll take care of all of the HR issues and anything else that comes up.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for being here today. We really
My
appreciate
pleasure.
it. It's interesting to hear about that. I always enjoy that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, and now we're going to take a look at a package that Leslie put together for us all about the upcoming city garage sale. Let's take a look.
The idea behind having a community garage sale is instead of everybody having garage sales at different times throughout the summer, which you still can do, there's no problem with that, but just having one big set day that people know there's going to be a lot of different items out there, a lot of different garage sales closer to each other ideally, especially in the urban areas, and maybe make it so that we only have those garage sales at that time and you get more people drawn to you. And all the garage sales are throughout the city. Unlike other communities where it's just one area, our garage sales are in the urban areas, they're in the rural areas, and the nice part is we do provide a map that has all those addresses on there. People can go and look and see what's in their area. We believe in recycling here in Andover, and this is a great recycling event. Taking the old items that you no longer need or want and letting somebody else that can use them. Or if nobody wants to buy them, having the Salvation Army here, they're a great partner of ours, and they will get them to the people that need them. We get that question every year is, I forgot, I didn't realize whatever that it was this weekend. What do I do? Put out your signs, there'll be people that'll stop by. You don't have to be on our list.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Racemius, inviting you to watch the local show on QCTV, where we'll meet some great organizations and people that go above and beyond to serve your communities.
We hope you enjoyed this edition of News and Views. For more local community programming, check us out at qctv.org. And again, thanks for watching QCTV.